Please welcome back Alec National Chairman, Phillip Gunn.
Well, thank you so much, Lori. It's exciting to hear all the great things that Pharma is doing. We appreciate them leading in this time of pandemic, and can't wait to see what other things, great things Pharma does. You know, one thing that 2020 has caused all of us to do as leaders is to adapt. We've all had to learn how to adapt. And part of that's listening. Lori referenced something we had happen in Mississippi this year when we discussion regarding our state flag. A lot of people, a lot of opinions, a lot of views were expressed regarding that. And we as leaders had to listen, and we had to adapt to what the people wanted, and we did, and we got it done. But you can't do that without free speech. You can't do that without having open debate and discussion. And Alec is a strong defender of our right to free speech. The First Amendment assures us the right to express our views and to be heard. And without the right to free speech, you don't have liberty, you don't have democracy, you don't have freedom. And Alec is a staunch defender, like I said, of our First Amendment right to engage in free speech. Now, last year, we awarded the first ever Gregory G. Peterson Award for Venture Philanthropy. This is a $250,000 award given each year by the Peterson family to a nonprofit that is pursuing a great cause. Last year's winner was Generation Justice, an Arizona-based nonprofit that fights for the rights of foster children. This year we have another great winner, but before we announce this year's winner, I want to ask you to watch this short video with me, which explains more about the Gregory G. Peterson Award for Venture Philanthropy. Thank you.
The Gregory G. Peterson Prize in Venture Philanthropy was launched in 2019 and is awarded annually to a trailblazing startup in the nonprofit sector. Gregory G. Peterson, one of the first venture capitalists on the West Coast, appreciated the importance of teamwork and delighted in serving as a mentor to hardworking entrepreneurs.
Peterson Prize was created to honor my grandfather, Gregory G. Peterson. Gregory G. Peterson was a venture philanthropist, and we wanted a way to give back in his honor, and I think he would be really proud.
At last year's States and Nations Policy Summit, the first annual Peterson Prize was awarded to Darcy Olson of Generation Justice, a nonprofit organization advocating for foster children across the states.
The Alec partnership means so much to the Peterson family. In 2019, we had our first award, and Alec offered this phenomenal platform to us where we got the word out about the prize to all 50 states, and we're so grateful for the people and the ideas and all that they've brought to the Peterson Prize.
And this year, Alec has had the honor to play a small role with the Peterson family in their search for the 2020 Peterson Prize recipient.
We look for an idea that can be replicated from a local region across the country.
We're looking for someone with a great idea, something new, something important to our country and to our freedoms.
The Peterson family is choosing to honor one freedom that has been of crucial importance in 2020, one given to us constitutionally and one under attack still today: free speech.
Free speech is important every day and has been for many, many years. It's the foundation of our country. And without free speech, you don't have liberty, you don't have democracy, you don't have freedom.
The Peterson family awards the 2020 Peterson Prize to the Center for American Liberty, led by Harmeet Dillon and Mark Trammell, a charitable organization that has been created to defend our rights to free speech and civil liberties.
You know, free speech is something that's under assault right now. It's no coincidence that the 2020 Peterson Prize is going to the Center for American Liberty. This is a timely award and a timely effort in this country.
The First Amendment is one of our core principles in the founding of our country, and there's always a need for lawyers to step forward and assist people with their First Amendment needs. And so the Center for American Liberty has stepped in to represent a number of people whose First Amendment rights are being violated either by the government or by the school system or their employers or by strangers online.
I'm thrilled about the partnership between the Peterson family and Alec. The Alec members work every day to protect free speech, among the other liberties and that are the foundation of our country. We believe very strongly in the rights of citizens to govern themselves. Well, I think Alec and the Center for American Liberty are great partners because they're pursuing the same goals.
It's the little guy against the big guy, and that is, I think, an area that is underrepresented in our country right now, and so we fill that gap.
Alec and the Center for American Liberty believe in the individual. They believe in the American people. They don't believe in a government solution to everything. I think that's a very important concept that unites both Alec and the Center for American Liberty.
What a wonderful tribute to the Peterson family. Defending our First Amendment rights is so critical in this day and age. We appreciate the exceptional work of Alec and a truly an innovative, pioneering nonprofit, the Center for American Liberty. My name is Nicole Hoplin, and together with my business partner, John Jackson, we are delighted to have the great privilege each year of transforming the Peterson family's vision into reality with the Gregor G. Peterson Prize in Venture Philanthropy. A special hello to Peterson family members watching today. The prize, directed by the family, is perpetuating Greg Peterson's groundbreaking work in recognizing new and special ventures with risky, well-timed investments. What he did in the for-profit sector, the family is now applying to their philanthropy.
Using the family's criteria as a guide, an exhaustive national search narrowed the list of prize nominees to 5 excellent finalists. The Center for American Liberty was chosen by the Peterson family from those 5.
And we definitely want to thank all of you state legislators who nominated nonprofits in your district. Nominations are now being accepted for the 2021 prize at petersonventureprize.com.
The leader of the nonprofit receiving this year's Peterson Prize is no stranger to this audience. You likely have seen her on Fox News or other news networks, fighting on behalf of small businesses, churches, synagogues, and others unfairly singled out by politicians during COVID. It appears a vaccine for COVID is on the way, as we have just heard, and now, thanks to the Petersons, so too are reinforcements for the First Amendment and those old-fashioned ideas of religious freedom and freedom of speech.
Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the Peterson family, we want to officially recognize Harmeet Dillon, Mark Trammell, and the Center for American Liberty as the 2020 Gregor G. Peterson Prize recipient. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Nicole and John. Thank you very much to the Peterson family for this amazing honor that allows us to make sure that for the next few years, we're able to continue to serve the civil rights community in the United States. And I particularly want to thank Alec as well, and Lisa, and all of the others, Phillip, for that wonderful introduction regarding our work at the Center for American Liberty. 2020 has been a very challenging year for Americans on so many levels. Of course, COVID has been a huge threat, but as soon as the COVID restrictions came, so did calls to civil rights organizations like ours regarding the right to pray, the right to protest, the right to run your business without government interference, the right to attend school, the fundamental right to education, and even the right to speak out and petition the government to seek redress for what have been perceived by many citizens as overbroad restrictions on our civil rights in the face of this serious health challenge. There were very few civil rights organizations in the country willing to step up in this troubled time to fight for those rights in court. The Center for American Liberty, which is a startup, marshaled our resources and our network of attorneys throughout the United States, and we filed over 15 lawsuits in courts challenging these restrictions. Through our advocacy, we pressured governments to open the beaches of Orange County, to allow people to pray in parking lots without threat of arrest, to open up the schools partially in California, and many other achievements. Legislators play a critical role in advancing liberty in our country. Sometimes civil libertarians can be at odds with state legislatures and federal legislatures. We may have different views, but we share the same goals in making sure that our country remains free, remains open, and that minority viewpoints are heard. It's of great importance that we have this vaccine coming, and it's going to make sure that some of the civil liberties challenges that we have faced this year hopefully will fade away, but I think it is certain that they will be replaced by new challenges. There will always be the occasional government actor that oversteps and tries to silence a critic at a city council meeting. There will always be a college administrator that decides that certain viewpoints may not be heard. And there will always be employers who decide that it is their role to impose their viewpoints upon their workers. These are among the challenges that we face today and that we are certain to face tomorrow as well. Center for American Liberty operates on the work of pro bono and low bono attorneys throughout the United States who have full-time jobs as attorneys, but they'd like to give back to their communities throughout our country. And we are very grateful for all of their efforts this year in going into court, or as it happens, into Zoom hearings around the United States on very short notice. One of our cases is pending before the United States Supreme Court right now, and we have others in the pipelines in the courts of appeals and in the trial courts. Without the support of families like the Petersons and individual donors, and yes, sympathetic state legislators who hear our concerns and respond to them, we would not be able to do this important work. In conclusion, I want to say that it is very humbling to have been selected from so many other deserving nonprofits in the United States. Center for American Liberty works hand in hand with other nonprofits who share our freedom and liberty goals. And we look forward to collaborating with future winners of the Peterson Prize and future members of Alec in coming years. Thank you very much for this honor and for giving me the opportunity to say my thanks publicly.